Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about American politics, and I want to talk about Dallas Jenkins' The Chosen. It's a really fascinating show, and I want to talk about what Richard Osman and Marina Hyde talked about with the show, um, and why it's important, and how it helps us to understand American politics at this point. So, we are an incredibly new space, right? And so, one of the things that's changed, with Donald Trump. It's been a complete defeat of the Democrats. I mean, I think, I called it. I called it months. Literally predicted on my channel. I was like, Donald Trump's got this. I can tell you right this now. This is wrapped up. Like this is completely wrapped. All right, and I was right. And it's really transformed American society at every possible level because we're living in a victorious Republican era, right? It's just and the Democrats are not just beat; they are devastated, absolutely devastated. All right, so so basically, one of the things that we're being able to get now is religious and conservative entertainment. It's definitely happening. There's two men who are responsible for this: Dallas Jenkins and Taylor Sheridan. Now, the Dallas Jenkins created The Chosen, and this is the story of Jesus Christ. Now, I will say this is really interesting. I have not watched The Chosen, and the reason why is I wanted to, and I even started it. I watched one or two episodes, and then I talked about it with some people at church, and the first person I talked about, they're like, "Oh, are you watching that disgusting show?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" They shot it on Mormon sets. The whole thing's Mormon. It's heresy, heresy, heresy. Like just completely shut it down. And I was like, this is a waste of time. I don't want to watch a show that I can't talk to anybody about, right? And so it is rough on the Republican conservative religious side. The show is not fully baked yet into the culture, right? But what's really interesting is there are millions of fans, and this thing it is performing at a level that no other show is performing. Also, I was shocked. Did you guys know Blumhouse brought this to light, right? Like, and this is fascinating, right? Like Blumhouse, it makes movies off of cheap. They make money, a lot of money, off of cheap horror films. Blumhouse cranks out horror films, right? And most of them are not good, but some of them are bangers, right? But they actually help fund this and get this to a point where it would be as successful as it is. But what's really interesting is, so Richard Osman and Marina Hyde, they have a show called The Rest is Entertainment. And man, you got to check this out. They are my new jam. They're absolutely brilliant. They're two British people who talk about entertainment, and they have a great show. And so they were talking about it, and of course, they're European, right? So they all hate God over there. I don't really think there are any Christians in Europe. And so basically, so Marina Hyde's like, this show is phenomenal, right? And he's like, what? And Richard Osman, she's like, it is very, very good. It has a great story. And they're building it into the Chosen verse, right? And this is going to be a huge piece of intellectual property in the future. And already Dallas Jenkins is doing movies, and this Chosen show, they're thinking about doing 7 seasons, and they're working very hard on it. And this has a lot of momentum. And so Richard Osman's like, oh, okay, I guess a show about Jesus. He's like, well, wait a second, would it be like a fun, ironic watch, right? And I knew exactly what he meant. He's like, oh, you and I are intellectuals. We went to college. We could watch it and then laugh at people who believe in Jesus Christ. And I'm like, that's repugnant. You are a horrible human being, right? Like, now to tell the truth, I really like Richard Osman. He's a really brilliant guy, really, really smart. But I was pretty appalled with what he was saying. He's like, oh, we'll watch it and we'll just make fun of all the religious people who believe in God, right? And I will tell you right now, this is why Donald Trump won, right? Because people are sick of being woke scolded. They're sick of being mocked. They're sick of of people thinking they're stupid, right? And that's all the left does. That's all Democrats do. They're like, oh, those ridiculous conservative people, they're so stupid, and they believe in Jesus, and and they really look down on us, right? And in this moment, and I loved Marina Hyde's response. She's like, no, this isn't a good ironic watch. It's too good for that. I was like, whoa. I was stunned. Because Marina Hyde isn't a Christian, right? Like, I don't even need to check. I don't need to look it up, right? Like, her vocabulary is extremely high, right? Which means she has 1 or 2 or 3 degrees, right? And nowadays, if you go to college, you ain't a Christian. Now, I certainly broke that mold, but we're very, very rare, and I was really impressed with this. And I'm very excited that conservative, religious entertainment is arriving for real. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Absolutely nothing more, absolutely nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when I get in the comments and when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.